Okay, let's talk about this new defense body, this sort of security council, defense council. What is different about this? Why is this so newsworthy? Why is this different than, or how is it different than what Iran had before?
You see, the Defense Council was active back in the days of Iran-Iraq War. And it was basically dismantled, and the Supreme National Security Council replaced it back in '89, I think. So for more than 3 decades, the Iranians didn't have this council. Now they are re-establishing it. It suggests that Iran is feeling that it's in times of war, that war is on the corner. It can happen anytime. And they need to have this council activated to firstly, to take precautions, and then to enhance the country's defensive capabilities. And in terms of basically in the announcement of it being reestablished, the Supreme National Security Council announced that its main focus will be on basically preparation for any scenario of war and planning for it. These two are the main prime things. And I think it coming to the fore after the Iranian-Israeli war, after the US attacked Iran nuclear sites, is basically noteworthy because it suggests that the Iranians who were taken off guard in the beginning of the assault on the country are now trying to basically foresee any future military engagement with the Israelis and prepare for it. And that basically is telling me that the Iranians who were lagging behind what the Israelis were doing, at least in the first half of the war, are basically trying to face the Israelis in any future conflict if there's a war on Iran again from the get-go. And they are focusing on two parts, basically. You see, when the Israelis attacked Iran, they assassinated many Iranian commanders and politicians and ordinary citizens. To the fifth or sixth day of the war, the Israelis had the upper hand. But after that, the Iranian more serious missiles came to the fore in retaliation, and the Israelis started hurting. And what forced the Israelis to call for a ceasefire was basically them hurting because of Iran's missiles capabilities, and also because what they saw in what they planned for, an internal uprising that will bring down the political system in Iran, didn't happen. So the system here is focusing on these two prime things. Firstly, internal unity by replacing Mr. Ahmadian with Mr. Larijani, who's a politician from the middle ground. Basically, everyone is okay with. He can work with everyone. He's now going to be the head of the Supreme National Security Council. And then the military planning and preparation would be given to this new defense council, which will be more focused and which will be more basically engaged in military decision making. And I think it has also to do with the fact that Iran is and was, and the war has shown it, was very much infiltrated by Israeli intelligence and American intelligence. And so they are shrinking the number and creating this small, rather, body that would take military decisions when need be. So that's all related to what happened in the past month with the Israelis and Americans attacking the country.
What do you think Israel wants? Why are
Well,
they attacking Iran?
Well, I think they want hegemony in the region. Iran and some of its friends are the last countries that don't want to see Israel as a hegemon in the region. And so it wants to do away with the Iranian system that is opposed to its hegemony.
But what would that look like, do you think, to the Israelis?
What do you mean?
Like, do they want to break Iran into a bunch of little countries? They want to topple the current government and install a US friendly government. I mean, what do you think what's the end goal? What does it look like to them?
Well, I think the Israelis on the US friendly government in Iran, I don't think the Israelis want that. They were not okay with Iran even before the revolution of '79, because Iran still is a big country and has a lot of resources, has a lot of potential regionally, and the Israelis cannot project power and hegemony with Iran being there. So the ultimate goal is to bring down the system and basically dismantle the country. They have shown in the last war with Iran that they waged against Iran that they want the system to come to crumble. They want an internal uprising. And they want to dismantle the country. They have been pushing for that in attacking. They didn't, if the main goal was basically Iran's nuclear program, they wouldn't have been attacking police stations. They wouldn't have been attacking institutions that have to do with internal security, not the nuclear program, not the missile program. So they shown in their action and of course in their rhetoric with Prime Minister Netanyahu calling for the Iranians to rise up and bring down the system. He has shown that his aim is to bring down the system, and I think bringing down the system because of the reason that I mentioned, Iran will stay strong. A strong country over time will emerge if Iran basically is there as it is geographically, resource-wise, and it's basically positioned in the Middle East. So they don't want to dismantle it to have their hegemony projected over not only the Arab region but also beyond it.
Mm-hmm. Why not build a nuke? I mean, again, I'm not advocating for this. I'm not saying yes. I think, I mean, I would prefer if no countries had nuclear weapons at all. But clearly, with Israel's aim and now it has Iran in its crosshairs, and Israel's been successful in dismantling every other country it wanted to dismantle. It has been very successful in doing that throughout the region. So if I were Iran, I'd be pretty afraid of what Israel's capable of, especially the fact that they were able to infiltrate, assassinate a lot of the top leaders and scientists. I mean, they've shown that they can do a lot of damage and that they're pretty sneaky. And so there's a lot of fear there. So why not? I mean, when we look at, like, for example, North Korea, for a long time, the chatter was, oh no, North Korea can't have a nuke. North Korea is on the brink of getting a nuke. And it was this big, scary, a lot of scary talk here in the United States about what if North Korea got a nuke, we would be destroyed. They would kill us. Which they didn't. I mean, they got a nuke and they left us alone and we left them alone. And ultimately it worked, that, I mean, you could look at North Korea as an example of how having a nuke suddenly gets the United States to get off your back, right? And so why not? What is the Ayatollah's objection? I'm not advocating. I don't want to make it sound like I'm advocating for the nuclear weapon, but I'm just trying to understand the logic. If you can see that for other countries, it has worked in deterring any sort of regime change or toppling. And you can see that Israel and the United States has been very successful at destabilizing and toppling and ruining other countries. Why wouldn't Iran then say, and also look, going into the deals and then the United States backs out of the deals, bombs anyway when you're at the negotiating table. It seems like the only logical conclusion at this point is to get a nuke. I mean, that would be just from a logical perspective.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think I spent much of my years studying and then teaching international relations. I mean, building power in an anarchic international system is basically the main guarantee or the only guarantee for your future survival. I think that's been very much voiced within Iran, but the leadership has another calculus. And I think that calculus doesn't have to do necessarily with international politics. It's a fatwa, it's a religious decree. I think the supreme leader here genuinely believes that it's anti-human of a weapon, and he cannot basically allow that to happen. But I mean, fatwas are also a necessity of time and circumstances. They can change if there is a new circumstance. And that circumstance, I think, is gaining more momentum and strength within Iran and in the region. I mean, your argument is very much repeatedly, time and time again, is coming up not only from academics like myself, but also from MPs in the Iranian parliament, from past officials, even some current officials are talking about it. I haven't seen such a debate in Iran for the past 2 decades, where when the Iranian nuclear program has been on top of the news. It's very much, as I said, it reflects the public appeal for such a, or public push for such a move. But I'm not sure still the leadership has decided to do that. It's very obvious when there are two nuclear powers attacking you, you need to have the ultimate deterrent to deter them. It doesn't mean that you will have deterrence, absolute deterrence, because Israel is a nuclear power. Iran attacked it and inflicted pain on it. But at the very least, it will make a country like the United States and also Israel to think more than once before attacking you. And that push is there, really. But I'm not sure if the leadership is changing its track when it comes to weaponization. Another issue that is related to this, you've seen the infiltration within the country. I'm not sure if Iran decides it won't be basically attacked beforehand. That might be part of the calculus. I'm not sure really, because these kinds of discussions on a more serious levels are being done behind closed doors. But what we get out of it is that the strategy or the nuclear doctrine didn't change. Before the Israeli war on Iran, Mr. Larijani, who is now appointed the head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, has given gave an interview where he suggested if we existential threat, the nuclear doctrine of the country might change. So that's a hint of where things might go, but we don't see any, indication that the decision has been taken to that end.
I mean, I understand that. I agree. Nuclear weapons are an inhumane, anti-human weapon, and they shouldn't exist at all. But I think from probably the Iranian people's perspective, I mean, look at what's happened to these other countries that Israel and the United States have been able to destabilize. I mean, the people are in incredibly horrific conditions in some of these countries. And there's nothing worse, for the population than to have that happen. And so I can understand the argument of, look, having the nuclear weapon would deter so that we don't end up like Libya or Syria right now, or, Afghanistan or wherever, but instead, so I understand both sides of that. And I don't know what the right answer is, except that, again, having a nuclear weapon has been a deterrent for a lot of these other countries. I mean, you look at India and Pakistan, and the only reason why they don't go at it really with each other is because they're both nuclear weapons. They're both nuclear armed nations, and so they have to have a level of measurement. Same thing with the United States and Russia. We can't really go at it with a war because we're both nuclear countries, and so we keep a level of measured behavior there. And so I got to say, I don't think Israel has a nuke. I mean, I've heard this forever, and I believed it for so long. I no longer believe they have a nuke. And I actually think that that's why they're so desperate to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon. I think it's also why they're so desperate to keep the United States in their clinches. And they've pretty much they own our entire government. They don't need a nuke if the United States is if they've got the United States under their control. I don't believe they have a nuclear weapon. And the reason I don't is because they have proven themselves to be completely psychotic and genocidal. They're bombing 7 countries. They are starving an entire population of people. They show that they are willing to do whatever it takes for their survival. If they had nuclear weapons, they would have dropped them by now. That is, I no longer believe they have nuclear weapons. I don't know. And I think they like people thinking they have nukes because it makes them, it's better for people to think they have nukes. But I don't think they actually have them. I think they would have used them.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, their nuclear ambiguity, there are different points on it. I mean, a majority believe they have the nukes, and the reason they don't want to use them, or they haven't used them, is because they didn't face an existential threat so far. The Gaza attack or the Hamas attack on Israel is by no means an existential threat. Even the Iranian missiles attacks on Israel are by no means an existential threat. Hezbollah attacks are not an existential threat. They are minor threats inflicting pain, but still are not existential. And I think nukes are usually, as a deterrent, are believed to be the ultimate option that can be used if the country is to face an existential threat. That's what Mr. Larijani in Iran also has indicated. And I think if they don't have them, they have still the American umbrella there. They have the NATO umbrella. In the past, I mean, the recent war with Iran, NATO logistics, American arms were, covering Israel and enabling it to attack Iran in multiple levels. And the defenses partly were American, partly European, and partly Israeli. And even those Israelis are basically enabled by American weaponry and weapon-making companies. And so I think they have, if they have them, they have an internal deterrent, nuclear deterrent. If they don't have them, they have the umbrella of a at least, Western, collective Western nuclear capabilities to cover them. And they have shown, the West in general has shown that it would protect Israel no matter what,
Right.
even if there's a genocide there.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't believe that they are reasonable enough to be measured. So the whole notion of, well, it's just because they're not facing an existential threat, whatever, they think they're constantly under that's I mean, that's all they think, is that they're constantly under existential threat, and that's why they behave the way that they do. They have not shown themselves to be measured or reasonable or rational at all. They've just shown themselves to be hysterical and diabolical and insane. And that is what they've proven themselves to be over and over and over again. So I really don't think they have nukes. I think that's why they also blackmail the United States. They've got a bunch of our politicians under blackmail. Either they've blackmailed them, they've bribed them, or they've brainwashed them. Something has gone on, and they've kept the United States in their clenches, and that makes it to where they don't need the nuclear weapon as much, but they need to absolutely keep the United States in their grip, which they've been able to successfully do. But yeah, I don't think they're rational, reasonable people. They've proven themselves not to be. And so I really just don't think they have nuclear weapons. But anyway, I mean, we can't prove it either way, right? Right? We can't. But
Yeah.
if there's one thing they've proven themselves to be, and that's not reasonable at all. So that's why I think that's why they're so hell bent on Iran not having nuclear weapons. That would change the game for them. And they want to ensure that
I agree
absolutely never
with,
happens.
yeah, yeah, I agree with your point that their main strategy is to keep the United States as their main ally. Ever since the establishment, Ben Gurion has basically established this strategy. To have a big ally is more important than to have a whatever might you have in this small country, because they lack strategic depth, they lack capabilities that can shield them against big threats moving forward. So they need a big power. And it's part of the strategic culture there. And it has been, if you put Israel between, I mean, if you force them to choose between nuclear power and the United States as a shield against others, they would choose the United States. But that doesn't tell us that they wouldn't go for nuclear weapons. As I said, I mean, there's a debate on that, but majority believe they have them. But yet, when it comes to Iran, they didn't use nukes if they have them, because that's basically the international ramifications can be really immense. I mean, the only power that uses nukes is the United States. To this day, I haven't met a serious academic in the United States or I mean American friend who didn't really, who wasn't who was proud of this.
Yeah.
I mean, majority are not really proud of it. They are against it. They shy away from mentioning it, and that puts a string on a nation for a long time. Can't really go away easily. And then imagine Israelis attacking one country with nukes, what the rest of the region would look like. The rest of the region would be desperate to get their nukes before the Israelis attack them. And I think the Israelis don't want that, because that doesn't help their strategy of their hegemonic tendency in the region. They want to be the hegemon in the region. And moving forward, if they use nukes left and right, that wouldn't help their case. They have been projecting before 7th of October, before their genocidal war on Gaza, they have been projecting themselves as the more reasonable, peace-loving, country that you can have a good ties with, and you can grow and develop more with Israel as opposed to being against it. But these 2 past years have shown the other image or face of Israel, which is not appealing at all. Imagine a nuclear attack on top of this. What would Israel look like in the region and globally? A rogue state that can't be dealt with reasonably. I think, though I agree with you, they have shown that they are not calculated. They are anything but calculating. But when it comes to nuclear powers, the literature internationally suggests that countries that have them usually are very measured when it comes to dealing with them, how to use them, or ever use them.
Okay. Well, it's nice to think that maybe they are that measured and that they're not dropping nukes, but again, I think they would. But this has been a really fascinating conversation. It's really great to get your perspective. It's great to hear from you. Really appreciate it, Dr. Hassan Ahmadian. I see that you have a YouTube channel. It is in the Persian language, but we do have the link down below for those that want to watch it. I know you've been posting some shows. We also have...
It's in Arabic, actually.
Oh, it's in Arabic. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't, well, I don't speak either language, so I didn't know what it was when I was watching it. Okay, so that's in Arabic. And okay, that's great. I'm sure we do have a lot of people that would be able to understand that. And also Twitter, you're on, or X, I guess is what we're calling it, right? Yeah. You're on X. Is there anywhere else people can find you?
Yeah, these 2 places are the prime places.
All right, perfect. We do have those links down below. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. By all means, thanks for having me.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you could check out Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. See you there.